Amazon wants to sell you your next car. And I'm not talking about the $20,000 EV pickup truck that was announced earlier this year. But instead, I'm talking about their newest venture, Amazon Autos. So buying a car has always kind of been a weird and illogical process. You spend hours at the dealership, you have to negotiate back and forth with some salesmen, and overall, it's just not a fun process. And Amazon wants to take this process online. Companies like Carvana and Vroom have already done it, and most automakers actually let you start the process on their website, but ultimately you still get pushed back into the dealership model at the end of the day. So far, out of all the car companies that have tried this, Tesla's the only one who's kind of done it. They have a direct-to-consumer model, which cuts out the middleman pretty much entirely. You can order a car online with no haggling, dealership games, and in really just a few clicks, it's yours. But Tesla's approach has also sparked legal battles across the country because in a lot of states, the direct car sales model is still restricted only to franchise dealers. So in an attempt to solve this problem, Amazon has stepped in. In 2023, they announced a partnership with Hyundai, which allows customers to shop for and finance a car directly through Amazon. And it's a hybrid model. You'll end up picking the car up from your local dealer, but Amazon really is the one who controls the purchase and shopping funnel, which is the key shift here. So if Amazon successfully branches out and penetrates this $1 billion industry, how is it going to disrupt competitors, affect dealers, automakers, and potentially the entire car buying process for consumers? So when it comes to participating and entering new industries, Amazon has a playbook that it typically follows. The first thing they do is start small and dominate the market. When Bezos launched Amazon in 1994, books were his first target. At the time, online shopping was new and people didn't trust it yet. But books were a low-risk venture. They're cheap, lightweight, easy to ship, and they don't require trying on or testing in person. Amazon built credibility here before expanding outwards. Over the years, with the expansion of online retail, Amazon has quickly become the everything store. Electronics, clothing, toys, furniture, and more. Each new category they added pulled more customers into the ecosystem. Eventually, they made the move into essential goods. They have Amazon Fresh, Whole Foods, and their grocery delivery network. Finally, healthcare and pharmaceuticals have followed. These are industries that people never thought would move online, but Amazon has normalized it. And basically, all of these follow the same exact formula. They start with convenience, they grow the model, and eventually consumer behavior changes until the old model begins to feel outdated and Amazon has filled the void. This worked for books, clothing, and toys, but cars are a bit of a different challenge. And that's because the auto industry is one of the most entrenched, regulated, and protected industries in America. So breaking into this market is going to be significantly harder. For decades, basically since the 1930s, the dealership model has been protected by law. It's an extremely outdated model and doesn't really fit in with the expectations of the modern consumer. And pretty much everyone agrees that this system has been played out and consumers for the most part are over it. So if something like the dealership model is so bad, why does it still exist? The thing is, most states have franchise laws that forbid automakers from selling directly to consumers. And originally, these laws made sense. As franchising became the dominant model for auto sales in the early 20th century, automakers used their concentrated power to force unfavorable terms on dealers. For example, during the Great Depression, dealers were often forced to buy excess inventory from manufacturers under threat of contract termination, which they could not successfully challenge in court. In response, dealers began to heavily lobby for legislative protections against abuse from manufacturers. This legislation became prominent in the 1930s and the 1950s. And by the time the Federal Automobile Dealer Franchise Act of 1956 was passed, 20 other states had already passed similar legislation. But today, those laws have created a system in which the dealers have all the leverage and the power over the consumer when it comes to the negotiation on the final sale price of the vehicle. The model has been locked in for decades and it is ripe for disruption. So this is where Amazon comes into play. Amazon's entire business model is built on transparency. You choose the item, you see the price, you click the buy now button, and it shows up to your house. This is in stark contrast to the haggling, intimidation, and psychological judo that is required when buying a car from a dealership. For a purchase as big as a car, the promise of transparency is compelling, and there is big opportunity for a new way. So now let's take a look at the moves Amazon has already made in order to embed itself into the automotive buying process. Their first step was the partnership with Hyundai in 2023. It officially launched in January of 2025, but shoppers can now go onto Amazon's platform, select a car, and actually begin the purchase process online. They can browse models, trims, colors, and choose features all online. The key thing here is that financing is integrated into the checkout. making it feel more like an online transaction than a dealership negotiation. After the purchase, the car is picked up from a local dealership or delivery partner. So far, this has served as proof of concept that the e-commerce model can be applied to the car buying process. As of early 2025, the Hyundai-Amazon partnership is live in 54 key US markets, which represents around 71% of Hyundai's market in America. And in its first month of launch, 400 Hyundais were sold through Amazon. It still involves dealers, but Amazon controls the front-end buying experience, which is kind of the most important part. By owning the discovery and shopping layer, Amazon positions itself as the default place people go to start their search for a car. If Amazon becomes the first stop for shoppers, then all the other players, dealerships, automakers, and competitors like Carvana have to adapt and play by Amazon's rules. And it's not just with the new car market. Earlier this year, Amazon partnered with Hertz to sell retired rental cars directly on the platform. The cars are listed with inspection reports, warranties, and a local pickup. A huge upgrade from the typical used car hustle. With this move, Amazon is stepping directly into the much larger used car market. So what makes Amazon so intimidating? Amazon has what the smaller players don't, and that's data. Amazon already knows what millions of people are shopping for every single day, and that data lets Amazon target buyers with ads at the exact moment that they're likely to need a car. Something that no dealership or automaker can really do. And there's massive bundling potential here. Amazon could extend autos into everything else around car ownership, from financing and loaning directly at checkout, to warranties, maintenance package, and even insurance as add-on items. This could transform car buying from a one-time transaction into an ongoing relationship within Amazon's ecosystem. So how is the competition affected? Platforms like Carvana and Car Gurus suddenly might lose their edge when compared to Amazon's scale and ability to deliver. And if discovery starts online and there is pricing transparency, then the traditional dealership model loses its advantage. Even automakers themselves are at risk of losing leverage if customers start associating car buying with Amazon first rather than the brand itself. For some people, the idea of buying a car online sounds absolutely insane. But Amazon started with books, then general goods, then it went to groceries, then healthcare, and now it's doing cars. At almost every step along the journey, people thought the idea was ridiculous and might not work until it ended up working. And the dealership model has been around for decades, so if something this entrenched can be disrupted by Amazon, then it shows that there may not be many industries left that are off limits for innovation and disruption. Hi, my name is Nick. If you want to see more business breakdowns like this, definitely consider checking out my channel, Heavy Signal. Let me know in the comments as well. Would you ever buy your next car from Amazon? Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.